From Persia to Kaifeng, The Journey of China's First Jews. By Azlan Adnan. Introduction. Forgotten Footprints on the Silk Road. The history of the Jewish diaspora is often narrated through the lens of Europe and the Middle East, yet one of the most enduring and little-known chapters took place in the East, along the winding routes of the Silk Road. Among the earliest Jews to arrive in China were Persian traders and settlers who, over time, established a vibrant Jewish community in the imperial capital of Kaifeng. Their story is one of cultural synthesis, religious perseverance, and gradual assimilation across nearly a millennium. Origins: Jewish migrations from Persia. The roots of the Jewish community in China can be traced back to Jews of Persian origin who traveled eastwards during the Islamic Golden Age. Following the Arab conquest of Persia in the 7th century, Jews living in the Persianate world, especially in cities like Isfahan, Hamadan, and Baghdad, became active participants in trade networks stretching from the Mediterranean to China. Jewish traders, often in partnership with their Muslim and Nestorian Christian counterparts, carried goods such as silk, gemstones, incense, and precious metals across Asia. Some scholars believe Jewish traders may have arrived in China as early as the Tang dynasty, 680 to 907 CE, during a period of openness to foreign ideas and religions. Though no direct Chinese record from this period identifies Jews explicitly, the presence of Persian communities in Tang cities like Chang'an and Luoyang is well documented, and indirect evidence points to Jewish merchants as being among them. Establishing a community in Kaifeng. It was during the Northern Song dynasty, 960 to 1127 CE, that the Jewish presence became firmly rooted in Kaifeng, then one of the world's largest and most sophisticated cities. Chinese records later describe a Jewish community that called itself adherents of the one true religion, Yi Chen Jiao, believed to have arrived in China during the Han or early Song dynasty. A commemorative stone stele erected in 1489 claims their ancestors came from a land west of China, interpreted by modern scholars as a reference to Persia. Kaifeng, located on the Yellow River and at a major crossroads of trade and administration, became the seat of a thriving Jewish settlement. These Jews, known locally as Blue Hat Hui Hui, Lam Hui Hui, were distinguished from Muslims by their unique headgear and customs, although both groups were broadly classified under the Hui, designation for foreigners from the Islamic world. In 1163, the Kaifeng Jews built their first synagogue, designed in the traditional courtyard style of Chinese architecture. The synagogue was renovated multiple times across dynasties and remained a central institution for worship and community life. The Kaifeng Jews practiced circumcision, observed the Sabbath and Jewish holidays, followed kosher dietary laws, and maintained Hebrew scrolls and prayer books, many of which were later found annotated in Chinese. Cultural adaptation and religious continuity. Over time, the Kaifeng Jews adopted Chinese names, wore local attire, and mastered classical Chinese. They sent their sons to Confucian schools, and some became officials in the imperial bureaucracy. Yet, they remained devoted to their Jewish identity. Hebrew scrolls from Kaifeng reveal a hybrid linguistic culture, sometimes blending Judeo-Persian elements with Chinese glosses. This 1512 stele, another important historical document, not only records the building of the synagogue, but also names prominent Jewish families and extols their loyalty to the Chinese emperors. These inscriptions testify to a religious community that was both proud of its foreign origins and fully integrated into Chinese society. However, their isolation from other Jewish communities proved detrimental over time. With no access to rabbis from the broader Jewish world and no influx of new Jewish immigrants, religious knowledge began to fade by the 18th century. By the early 19th century, the last known rabbi of Kaifeng had died. Encounters with the West and the community's decline. From the 17th century onwards, Jesuit and later Protestant missionaries encountered Kaifeng's Jews and were intrigued by their resilience. Jesuit Matteo Ricci first learned of their existence in the 1600s, and later missionaries attempted to provide them with Jewish texts and assistance. Visitors found Kaifeng Jews who could recite Hebrew prayers phonetically, but no longer understood their meaning. Despite these challenges, the community maintained their identity through family tradition and oral history. Many of their books and ritual objects were eventually sold or gifted to Western missionaries and collectors, and are now held in institutions such as the British Library and Hebrew Union College in the United States. These artifacts remain invaluable resources for scholars tracing the community's Persian origins and their evolution in the Chinese context. 20th century legacy and rediscovery. Although the formal religious structure of the Kaifeng Jewish community dissolved, many descendants retained an awareness of their Jewish ancestry. Into the 20th and 21st centuries, Kaifeng families, such as the Zhao, Li Jin, and Ai, preserved genealogies linking them to the original Jewish settlers. Some descendants have made aliyah to Israel, where they have sought to reconnect with global Jewry and revive religious practices, though often requiring formal conversion under Orthodox law. In recent decades, renewed academic interest, particularly from Chinese scholars, has led to fresh studies of Kaifeng Jewish manuscripts, stele inscriptions, and family histories. Researchers continue to explore how these Persian Jews adapted to Chinese cultural norms while maintaining a distinct religious identity for nearly 1,000 years. Conclusion: a unique chapter in the Jewish diaspora. The story of the Persian Jews in China, and particularly in Kaifeng, represents a singular fusion of cultures across continents. It is a testament to the adaptability of Jewish communities and the historical openness of China to foreign faiths and peoples. While largely forgotten outside academic circles, the Kaifeng Jews exemplify the enduring reach of the Jewish diaspora, from the bazaars of Isfahan to the banks of the Yellow River. References: Foltz, Richard. Religions of the Silk Road, Pre-Modern Patterns of Globalization. New York, Palgrave Macmillan, 2010. 2. Xin. The Jews of Kaifeng, China, History, Culture, and Religion. KDV Publishing House, 2003. 3. Leslie Donald Daniel, The Survival of the Chinese Jews, The Jewish Community of Kaifeng. Leiden, E.J. Brill, 1972. Eber, Irene, Chinese and Jews, Encounters Between Cultures. Valentine Mitchell, 2008. Tepper, Y. and Gamliel, Ophira. Kaifeng Jewish Manuscripts, New Perspectives on an Ancient Diaspora. Jewish Historical Studies, Vol. 50, 2018, 34-61. A Heartfelt Light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope, so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed now seek the skies, and slowly clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again, its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.